Guys, welcome to the channel. Again, the channel is MrBiscuitSpeaks. The last time we recorded a Tool song or did a Tool reaction, I think we were at 12,000 subscribers. We're now pretty close to 16. So I appreciate the Tool community for reaching out, enjoying these reactions. They're more than reactions, right? We dig deep for insights and epiphanies, and Tool makes that extremely difficult and extremely easy. Difficult because there are multiple interpretations. I'm not even sure if Maynard is the type of artist that wants to catch all of the meaning himself. Let alone all of us getting it on first watch. One of the highest recommended videos from the Tool community is going to be The Grudge, which is what we're checking out right now, guys. First watch. Let's see what they're talking about. By the way, before we do this, please like, share, subscribe, join our book club. I think we're in chapter 4 of Animal Farm. A Discord. Discord's going to be coming out probably this week. Turn on the notification bell, all that good stuff. Support the channel if you appreciate the content. Guys, one thing that I love about Tool, and it bears repeating, so don't get annoyed with me for repeating something that I've said in previous Tool videos. I have to let it come out of my mouth and into my own ears. It's important for my processing. Their music means a lot. It tells its very own story. Similar to, if you were to listen to like Bach, they say in Bach's music, it's difficult to hear the same Bach twice. Right? Because he put so many layers in there that your brain can only keep up with 4 patterns, maybe 3 or 4 patterns. So when you listen to it again, your brain subtly picks up on patterns that it didn't the last time you listened. So it's difficult to even listen to the same Bach track twice. It's like a river. It really advances your ability to engage in perspectival knowing. With Tool, it's a very similar way. Like with their music, that's the reason they let it ride for so long before they actually start singing. The music itself is trying to tell you something, and I'm not catching it quite yet, but guys, I'm hearing like a dun 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 dun, but on top of that, I'm hearing doodle dun doodle dun doodle dun doodle dun doodle dun doodle dun. But there's this underriding like current that's like dun 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 dun. You hear that layering?
Like a crown, negativity, calculate what we will not tolerate, desperate to control all and everything, unable to forgive the scarlet letterman.
One more time.
Wear the grudge like a crown, negativity, calculate what we will not tolerate, desperate to control all and everything, unable to forgive the scarlet letterman.
Desperate to control everything. So he says, wear the grudge like a crown of negativity. And guys, this is how we view leadership, unfortunately. We so often are more in line with a strong man. Sometime this week, we're going to be reading Dostoevsky's The Grand Inquisitor. which challenges us with the question of why we want leadership at all costs. Right? It's like, of course, we don't necessarily want anarchy, but we're just so in need of some kind of strongman that we're almost primed for a dictatorship. Wear the grudge like a crown of negativity. Calculate what we will or will not tolerate. Unable to forgive your scarlet letterman. The Scarlet Letter was a book in which a woman had to wear a red A, a scarlet letter, A for adultery. And you want to remember, right? You don't want to forget. And a part of the reason that forgiveness is so difficult is because we build these identities. We're so desperate to have our motivated expectations fulfilled. Like, we want our motivated expectations to match the real world. And so whenever anyone does us a disservice, right, we have to remember, we have to frame that person or that group of people. To preserve our ego, and to preserve the illusion that we have more control than we actually do, right?
Will not tolerate, desperate to control all and everything, unable to forgive the scarlet letterman.
Guys, did you notice that there was almost no tone shift in that first little verse? Dun, 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 unable to again, dun, 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 dun. And the music went right with it. Dun, 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 dun. And now we're back to this boom, 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 boom. So they were trying to foreshadow that with the music in the beginning. And now we're it's funny how the tone doesn't change. When the when the lyrics are like that, the attitude of the speaker is like that, right? So the character is embodied not just in the lyrics, but in the tone, in that straightforward, boxed in, almost robotic tone of voice, right? Terrified of being wrong. Ultimatum prison cell. Terrified of being wrong. In our last, we went over Animal Farm chapter 4. That was just today. And we talked about the scout mindset and the soldier mindset. Are your beliefs possessions that you feel like you have to protect and accessorize? I mean, some people, they treat their beliefs like they're proud of the fact that they've been the same for decades. Like, I've thought the same thing for decades, or I've been this for 20 years, or I've been that for 30 years. I haven't changed at all, right? We're almost a country that looks down on mental development, on cognitive development. It's like, we would almost look down on a politician that's changed their position. Like, we're so desperate for control that we look down on people that change. Isn't change supposed to symbol growth, right? Terrified of being wrong. Ultimatum prison cell, right? I mean, even the scientific community, right? They pride themselves on being wrong. It's a pragmatic discipline. They say, look, if we're wrong, that means we have things to learn. That means we have a new hypothesis to, right? Guys, leave it in the comments what you think that means. I'm not sure what Saturn ascends, choose 1 or 10. hang on or be humbled again. And being humbled again just seems like that Socratic type of humility, where, Socrates said, "My wisdom consists in the knowledge that I know nothing." Perpetual humbling. As you figure the universe out, you figure out that you haven't figured anything out. It's almost like the more you read, the dumber you feel. The more you work out, the weaker you feel, right? And so the closer you are to reality, the more humble you should be, right? So he says that, there's this dichotomy here. You can either hang on and treat your beliefs like possessions that you have to accessorize and put more things on and protect from different ideologies and go to war with different ideologies, or be humbled again and again with the recognition of your ignorance as you grow.
Bold again, a sense. Choose 1 or 10. Hang on or be humbled again. Humbled again.
Guys, somebody in the last Tool reaction mentioned the drummer, and the drummer has been so completely unique throughout this song. I really don't know the process behind how they write, but if anybody can put a link in the comments to anything that gives us some insight into like how Tool writes together, because the drummer himself is doing something extremely unique. Like every 8 bars, there's some transition. There's like a regular drum, but then there's like this African bongo at the beginning. It's like gloom, gloom, and sometimes there's the it's like they're all working together to build this living thing. Like it's almost like their songs are alive. Right? It's like that they have a life applicability that kind of transcends just the moment that they wrote it in.
Crushing like a cornerstone, otherwise it all comes down. Justify denials and grip 'em to the lonesome man. Saturn ascends.
Justify denials and grip them to the lonesome end. Guys, I was just, we do wisdom school every other Sunday, and we were talking about lying. That was the topic of wisdom school, is lying. Why do we lie? How often do we lie? And we looked at this study where this woman took a control group and she asked, who's the most important person in your life? Some people say, oh, my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, my best friend. Typical answers. So then she takes the control group out and she calls the loved ones of all these people and just got a couple of stories from those loved ones. And then she brought the people back in and said, okay, I spoke to this person who you told me was this close person to you. And they told me about this memory. Do you remember it? And they were like, oh, yeah. They'd go out and talk about the memory. But then she said, and there was also a memory where they were lost in the mall. Do you remember this time that, this person close to you was lost in the mall? That never actually happened. She just slipped that in. And even though it never actually happened, people's minds, they would justify it. They would remember it. They would confabulate different parts of this story, even though it never actually happened. And so one thing that we learned, guys, is that lies are kind of a normal part of cognitive development. Kids learn how to lie at 2. And so justifying denials, remember, our brains are storytellers, right? We were not built to interact with reality, right? We were built to interact with an interface, more or less. That's at least my belief.
Comes down, justify denials and grip 'em to the lonesome man. Saturn ascends.
Guys, what happens when you justify denials and grip them to the lonesome end, right? I think what he's foreshadowing here is that the more you justify, right? The more you justify your denial, you are just cutting off serious relationships, right? Imagine all your friends, in order to be your friend, they have to forgive the fact that have these crazy conspiracies, that you don't let anyone into your life, that you're unwilling to change and unwilling to let go of, your beliefs, whatever your personal stance is that you identify with, right? Guys, that just builds and compounds until you're left all by yourself, right? Being a part of a community means exchanging bad ideas for better ideas, right? Not just boxing yourself into this lonely place where only you exist as a reflection of yourself, right?
Comes round again. Saturn ascends, throw one punch ignorant to the direction.
Maynard is a beast with those vocals. A complete beast. Somebody please, because now I feel bad, because I feel like this Saturn Ascends 1 in 10 line is very, very meaningful, and I'm not catching it. Give me some assistance in the comments if you can.
Wear the grudge like a crown. Negativity, calculate what we will not tolerate. Desperate to control all and everything, unable to forgive me. Scarlet love. Wear the grudge like a crown. Desperate to control, unable to forgive, and sinking deeper, defying it, confiding it.
That is the most legit, crazy transition of music I have ever heard. Listen to that transition. That was fire.
Desperate to control, unable to forgive, and sinking deeper,
Fire.
confiding it, sinking deeper, controlling, defying it, and we're sinking deeper.
Guys, what are we sinking deeper into, right? When we won't let go, right? Defining, controlling, controlling, unable to forgive, and sinking deeper, right? What are we sinking deeper into if not the illusion of our own story, right? The story we are telling right now dissolves in the current of development. Even scientific theories dissolve in the current of development, right? It all develops, it all changes, right? Heroes die and become dust, and their stories become confabulated in the future. And we're sinking deeper, right? We're losing touch with reality because we won't allow these ideas we identify with to dissolve as they should in the current of development.
Controlling, defying it, and we're sinking deeper. Saturn comes back around, showing you everything lives to choose what you will. Will not stand and drag you down like a stone, or lift you up against, spit you out like a shine. Light and innocent. Saturn comes back around, lifts you up like a child, or drag you down like a stone to consume you till you choose to.
Guys, I defined transformation one time. My wife and her friend Jessie did a lecture it wasn't a lecture, it was a dialogue on transformation at the Hilliard Library. And in this, when it was my turn to talk, I tried to define transformation as the point at which the universe requires the expression of some latent capacity within you. That's what transformation is. It's very rarely voluntary, right? It's when the universe requires of you, it demands the expression of some latent potential within you, or else you'll die, right? It's saying, look, you have to be something else. Like when a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly, right? The universe is demanding of that caterpillar the expression of some latent potential within itself to become the new organism. And either you can let go and go peacefully, or you will get dragged into it. Very rarely is transformation asking nicely, right? And so when it's talking about being ripped and pulled, it says, or drags you down like a stone. Listen to this again.
Lifts you up like a child, or drags you down like a stone to consume you till you choose to.
So you choose to.
Let this go. Choose to.
Guys, I'm convinced that Maynard is a sage. I'm convinced of it, right? And what's fascinating is that the music is such, the musicality is so phenomenal that the lyrics are almost secondary. The lyrics are just a codification of the conscience that's emerging from the music itself. It's like the music, it's such a perfect match. It's almost like I've never seen before. It's like the music is speaking while the band is speaking. Because he's like, choose to let this go, and you get this brilliant kind of ease, over the drag you down like a stone, and it's like, choose to. That's doing something. It's saying that there's peace waiting on the end of letting go, right? Fascinating. How, Maynard? How do we give away the stone? He says, give away the stone. Give away the stone. Lots of people are willing to take it. What does he mean by the stone? Maybe it's anything that you choose to identify with that gives you a grudge. Name of the song is The Grudge. Like, you have a grudge against anyone who disagrees with your idea. This is where disagreements, this is where wars originate. It's because people forget what they truly are. They're modally confused. They think that what they are is what they have, right? What you have is an opinion. What you are is something else, right? And so give away the stone. The stone is the thing that's weighing on you, that pushes you down. As someone who pulls from the Christian wisdom tradition often, I learned a lot from the Buddhists, specifically the Nichiren Buddhist at the Sakugakai Temple in Colorado Springs, because they have the same philosophy. They're not trying to offer you anything except for to put the weight down, right? When you end it, they're like, hey, I don't want to presume to teach you much. I just want you to fully relax, to undress, right? To take off all of the things which are not fundamentally you, right? And when you give that away, and there's lots of people willing to take it, that's the reason I think that the metaphor is so apt. He's not saying drop, he's saying give it away, meaning there's somebody who you have a grudge against. Somebody, whether it's your political rival, whether it's your religious rival, whether it's, somebody who, whatever it is, let them win. Which isn't to say adopt their view. It's saying hold things lightly, right? Realize that you are different than the things you believe. The things you believe are dust in the wind. That's a game you're playing. So just recognize that that's a game you're playing, and you give away the stone. Listen to the drummer. Guys, that scream, I feel like that scream from the depths of his soul is an embodiment of what it feels like to give away the stone. Depending on how long you've been carrying it, man, is it painful. It's a journey, right? It's not going to feel good. Remember, the ego doesn't want to die. The ego has spent the majority of your life convincing you that it's real. So when you give away the stone, the degree to which you have identified with whatever your stone is, it will feel like you're dying as you give it away. It'll be an identity crisis, but man, is it worth it? That scream at the end is just like the scream of like freedom, right? And it's a painful process, right? It's being born again. And, babies come into the world screaming. If you hear him, I think he's screaming, let go, let go, let go, let go. That drummer is destroying. Guys, no further words. No further words. That was phenomenal. What's the next Tool track?